Meghan Sussex's Rose Revolution, how as ever shattered the beverage world. When history books are written about culture-shifting products, a few defining moments always stand out. When a trendsetter decided to reimagine tradition and dared to place their name on something timeless, yet revolutionary. In the world of wine and luxury beverages, that moment arrived with Meghan Sussex's Rose, as ever. From the instant Serena Williams shared the now viral wooden box engraved with Meghan's elegant signature brand, the world knew they weren't just looking at another celebrity-backed drink. They were witnessing the birth of a cultural phenomenon. The oak-crafted box itself, inscribed with a palm tree crest, and the smooth calligraphic words, as ever, was not simply packaging. It was artistry. It was storytelling. It was a promise. For centuries, fine wines have been presented in predictable bottles, often wrapped in glossy marketing that caters more to sales than to sentiment. Meghan shattered that formula. She dared to position wine not just as a drink, but as a curated experience, a love letter to elegance, friendship, and heritage. From Hollywood to Harrods, from Parisian bistros to Nairobi lounges, whispers of admiration echoed across industries. Beverage analysts called it a masterclass in branding. Cultural critics referred to it as a love poem carved into wood. Consumers, whether wine aficionados or casual drinkers, flooded social media with images of their as ever boxes, each picture a statement of taste and belonging. It was as if Meghan had handed the world a key to an intimate gathering, a toast shared across continents, poured from the same golden-hued rose. To understand the magic, one must start with the phrase itself, as ever. Two simple words that hold worlds of meaning. For Meghan, this wasn't just a name. It was a declaration of timeless constancy, of loyalty, of standing firm through storms and sunshine alike. Those who know her journey, from Hollywood actress to Duchess to independent global voice, understood that as ever was an intimate signature, a mark of authenticity, and a reminder that grace endures even under fire. The emblem carved above the phrase, two birds under a palm tree, evokes harmony, grounding, and resilience. A palm tree thrives where few others can, bending but never breaking under the fiercest winds. Birds, always in motion, represent freedom and companionship. Together, they form the crest of a lifestyle brand that transcends mere beverage culture. This is why As Ever didn't just enter the rose market. It disrupted it. With its storytelling, its artistry, and its global resonance, Meghan's wine created a cultural dialogue larger than alcohol. It became about resilience, friendship, and a shared commitment to living beautifully. Critics and sommeliers who first tasted As Ever described it with an enthusiasm rarely bestowed on celebrity wines. The liquid itself was a shimmering blush, a hue reminiscent of Provence sunsets, yet deeper, richer, more vibrant. Its notes balanced delicately between floral and fruity, hints of wild strawberry, peach, and rose petals, layered with a whisper of spice that lingered at the edges of the tongue. Paired with seafood, it sparkled. Sipped alone, it comforted. Chilled in the afternoon sun, it refreshed. Shared at midnight conversations, it inspired. More than taste, As Ever delivered a feeling, a warmth that echoed Meghan's vision of hospitality and intimacy. If the wine itself was the heartbeat, the packaging was the face, and what a face it was. The handcrafted wooden case, lined with natural straw, was less about containment and more about curation. It turned the act of opening a bottle into ritual. Customers unlatched the clasp, lifted the lid, and found not just 3 bottles, but 3 invitations to slow down, to savor, to connect. Instagram, TikTok, and even LinkedIn erupted with unboxing videos. Lifestyle influencers described it as the apple of beverage packaging, minimalist yet profound, classic yet futuristic. Each box was not merely purchased, it was treasured, displayed, repurposed, turned into keepsake chests and coffee table centerpieces. Meghan had tapped into the psychology of permanence in a disposable age, a package too beautiful to throw away. When Serena Williams posted her delight at receiving her As Ever box, it wasn't just friendship, it was validation. Here was one of the greatest athletes of all time, a cultural titan, gushing over Meghan's creation. Within hours, stars across industries followed suit. musicians sipping it at studio sessions, actors showing it off at intimate dinner parties, fashion icons styling their tables with the bottles as centerpieces. Unlike traditional endorsements, this wasn't transactional. These were genuine displays of admiration, rooted in friendship, respect, and the shared values Meghan represents: authenticity, empowerment, and global sophistication. Across the world, headlines blazed. Vogue declared Meghan Sussex redefines Rose, a brand that is more poetry than beverage. The Financial Times ran with the Duchess of Disruption. Meghan's as ever outsells established labels in days. The New York Times summed it up with when wine becomes a movement. The fascination wasn't just with the product, it was with the narrative. How had Meghan managed once again to surprise a world obsessed with her every move? She had been painted unfairly at times as polarizing, yet here she was uniting people across borders through a single sip. Within 2 weeks of launch, As Ever broke pre-sale records for a premium rose brand. Distributors in London, Dubai, New York and Tokyo reported waitlists stretching into months. Online retailers saw their servers crash under unprecedented demand. In France, where rose tradition runs centuries deep, critics initially skeptical had to admit Meghan had achieved what few dared, capturing the French respect while dazzling the global market. Industry analysts estimated that As Ever generated $50 million in buzz-driven revenue in its first quarter alone, with long-term projections pointing to a billion-dollar brand ecosystem spanning wine, accessories, lifestyle products, and possibly even hospitality ventures. But what truly sets Meghan's Rose apart is not just economics or taste, it's disruption of culture. Wine, historically, has been associated with exclusivity, with insider knowledge, with hierarchies of taste. Meghan democratized it. She redefined it as communal, inclusive, and universal. She did not market As Ever with intimidating jargon, but with storytelling, friendship, and imagery anyone could connect with. She did not confine it to Michelin-starred tables, but celebrated it in everyday gatherings, intimate dinners, and spontaneous toasts. In doing so, she reframed luxury, not as something distant and untouchable, but as something that lives in shared moments, laughter, and presence. There was also a deeper resonance. The wine industry, though centuries old, has long been dominated by male figures and male-led brands. Meghan's entry as a woman, an independent, powerful woman redefining her public image, was more than business. It was a feminist act, a declaration that women too can lead, disrupt, and define industries traditionally run by others. The name As Ever itself became a rallying cry for women, a phrase of solidarity, of showing up as ever, regardless of adversity. In Kenya, Nairobi's upscale lounges began offering As Ever Rose in curated tastings, pairing it with African fusion dishes. Patrons called it a bridge between cultures. In Japan, sommeliers praised its balance, noting how it complemented sushi, tempura, and delicate kaiseki dining. In Italy, long considered protective of its own wines, critics admired its craftsmanship, calling it a rose that could only have been created with heart, not just industry. In the United States, it became the must-have drink at Hollywood premieres, Hamptons summer gatherings, and Silicon Valley boardroom celebrations. More than a beverage, As Ever has become Meghan's legacy project, an extension of her voice, her vision, and her values. It shattered the beverage world because it wasn't selling wine. It was selling belonging, resilience, and beauty. Every bottle uncorked carries with it a piece of Meghan's journey, the courage to reinvent, the audacity to disrupt, and the grace to remain as ever. In the end, what Meghan Sussex has done with As Ever will be remembered not as a footnote in the celebrity wine craze, but as a cultural pivot. She didn't just release a drink, she curated a movement. She didn't just design packaging, she sculpted an icon. She didn't just sell rose, she redefined what it means to share, to gather, to celebrate. And so when future generations raise their glasses of As Ever, they will not only toast to flavour, they will toast to resilience, to beauty, to Meghan herself. The Duchess who shattered the beverage world with a blush-coloured dream, poured into a bottle and carved into history. To all my curious Sussex family, and do not forget to subscribe, like and put a comment bye-bye. See you then in our comment section.